Okay, hello everybody, this is GSK here yet again with another cast. Today we are going to be doing a little different today, doing something a little bit different. Jesus Christ, that was a train wreck. We are going to be watching a Archon mode replay that I played the other day with my good friend Panda. So, spawning in the top left as the blue Protoss Archon, it is going to be me and Panda, versus our opponents in the bottom right hand corner of Preon Terraces. It is going to be DonVur and Zing. Their names are probably cut off a little bit, as you can tell by the little nameplates, but both of us are on Team Bloody, both of the opponents are on Team FSX, and we are just going to get things underway. I don't actually remember if our opponent was Protoss or if they randomed, but regardless, they're going to be going for their gateway and gas. Likewise, we are going to be doing the same thing. So just a little bit about our team. I'm going to be mainly focusing on the micro, and our opponent, or our friend here, Panda, is going to be the main macroer in this game. So I go into their base and I see that they do not have a natural expansion. Just checking around at this point to see if they hit a probe to throw down the natural expansion a little bit later, but they did not. And I also go down to their third base to see if they picked up the gold expansion extremely fast. Pretty uncommon if they did in PvP, but in the meantime, what do we have here? We are going to be throwing down a gold base expansion in PvP and have some fun with that. I'm going to be staying around in the main base and just trying to see where all their buildings are, just seeing if they're making any type of tech. See their second pylon here and see their cyber core as well, so I'm pretty happy with everything so far. Going to be harassing this probe that they have out here, and I see their probe going down. I think they scouted our gold base as well, so they are going to be matching us. They're not going to be trying to do any type of aggression early on, so everything is going to be pretty even Steven here for the time being. Their expansion is a little bit delayed, but they do have their mothership core on the way. And when I come into their base, I do see that they are chronoing out their cyber core, and they are getting up the mothership core just because of the little animation on the nexus. And they still don't have any units to... Oh, is this probe stuck? I didn't notice it. I just thought it was like idle, but I think it actually might be stuck between this gateway, the pylon, and the cyber core. Unfortunate for them. So, my probe is going to be officially warded off here. Can't really get any more scouting information now that the mothership core is out. In the meantime, since we did see their gold base that they matched with us, we are going to be expanding again because we feel a little bit safe. We're going to be throwing down a pylon behind the natural expansion to possibly use the photon overcharge here as well. Getting another pylon in the gold base again for the photon overcharge. Still being a little bit annoying with this probe to try and get any scouting information as possible, but doesn't look like we are going to be able to do too much. I pinged on the minimap because I did see the probe coming in over here, and going to be running up to the natural expansion, and luckily for me, I got to see that they had not expanded yet. Going to be maybe killing off this probe. Come on, kill it, there we go. Killing off the probe. I do get into their main base as well, and this probe is MVP, man. Sees the robo facility and like it gets a full scout on their tech and whatnot, so feeling good. Feeling in a great position so far, just with some good scouting information. In the meantime, we are going to be going for a Stargate. The mothership core is positioning after it got this probe kill, should have been rallied back. Definitely bad positioning on this for an extremely long time. If they had like an adept or some form of harassing unit, that could have been very bad for us. So, almost optimal here. This pylon's blocking a little bit of our income, not too big of a deal though. They do have a proxy pylon though, and it looks like they are pinging it, so possibly trying to tell one of their Archon players to warp something in over there for harassment, or just letting him know for future harassment options. I'm going to be using some patrol micro on the mothership core just because if you do this, the mothership core is always already moving, so the acceleration, you don't have to accelerate because right when the mothership core starts moving, it's quite slow. But if it's already moving, then you don't have to opponents are going to be going for some additional stalkers. They have an immortal up, and they still haven't gotten their second expansion yet. And in terms of army, their army is like way bigger than ours. There's no other way to say it. And I'm going to be using, I think this was me, I'm not completely sure, but I'm going to be sending out a probe to see, and I'm like, oh god, there's a huge army. So panic mode ensues, and we go for another photon cannon. I overcharge, and this is not in range of anything. These cannons get pretty much instantly killed. Don't get anything done really. They're going to be focusing down the pylon, and unable to get too much damage. I come in with the mothership core just so I can like try and tickle their units back into the pylon range, but looks like they are on hold position, so I can't really do that. Going to be re-photon overcharging, almost get the sentry. Looks like it was a couple shots off them, and there's really nothing we can do to save this expansion. Guardian shield going down, but we are building carriers in the meantime. We are going 3 gate and just building carriers. We are transferring all the probes into the natural expansion, and we have a bunch of cannons at our natural. And with photon overcharge, they really shouldn't be able to break this position, which is great for us. So we are going to be going for carriers and making a lot of them in that fact. We already got the interceptor upgrade, so we've got that going for us, but in the meantime, they did expand to their natural expansion, just getting that down. Decide to pull back since they really can't break this fortified position. Photon overcharge is just such a great unit, man. And we also have a sentry, so we could possibly force field off the ramp. We do send a probe back down, and let's see, we go for this gold. I think I did this. We went for this gold expansion, and then I went and tried to build pylons. I'm like, oh my god, there's a proxy pylon, they know. So, actually, if we back up a bit, most of the time I won't do this, but okay. So, backing up a bit, and yeah, okay, so they would have seen that. So, it was probably correct to cancel it. Going to be pinging on the minimap saying, oh, we could try expanding over. Wow, this probe is so far from the watchtower, it still activates it that far away? Jesus, look at the distance. And that's amazing. And actually, do they see this as well? They see this expansion going down as well. So this was not very hidden at all. Probably a better hiding spot would either be here or here, but there's no way we could have known that they had the watchtower except for if we actually scouted that. So they are going to be building another proxy pylon, probably just to assault this base. We are going to be retaking our 3rd base and expanding to a 4th base as well, but they have a ton of stalkers, like a ton of stalkers. We're getting +1 air attack, chronoing out some carriers, and there's just no way we could defend this, so we have to cancel it. Things are looking pretty bad for us. We've lost a lot of bases. We've lost just non-stop losing units. In the meantime, they're going to be poking in over here, denying our 3rd base here yet again. We do have this base up, and I don't think they actually know about this one. Yeah, luckily for us, they don't scout this one, but they do see the carriers, I believe, at this point. And so this base is probably going to just stay up for the time being. They have a mothership core randomly in the middle of the map. Not completely sure the reasoning behind this. Possibly using it for the recall if they need to. And again, we're just continuing to chrono out these carriers. Where are the carriers, by the way? Looks like they're probably going to be killing off this proxy pylon, I guess. I think at this point, I'm the micro player again, so I just wanted to kill off the proxy pylons since I figured, oh, they know everything already now. Oh no, these probes. Oh, the probes. Losing them. Killing off the observer that they had near our base. They eventually find our 3rd. I guess this is now our new 3rd base. So I'm going to try and defend it with these carriers, but all of them already everything kinda died. So I used the new interceptor launching ability for the carrier that they recently added in Legacy, and because of it, all of the interceptors are going to go away. I tried to use it so we can wall off all the stalkers, but the stalkers have blink, so they just blink down this way. But it was a good idea if the Stalkers didn't uplink, right? They would have to run all the way back here, or they would get trapped, at least. I guess if they got trapped though, it didn't really matter, eh? I'm not completely sure. Anyway, we are going to be using these 5 carriers to just try and attempt to come back into this game. They have had their 3rd base up for a while now. Their gold base is almost mined out. And in terms of units lost, we are getting a little bit more cost efficient. Them just losing all those stalkers for nothing was great for us. And I also rallied a couple more of the carriers back here. Luckily for me, none of their units was in position to defend against this, and I focused down the Nexus pretty much immediately. And because of it, we are going to be able to get the Nexus, but we do lose a carrier in the meantime. Going to be picking off a stalker. Kill the Mothership Core! The Mothership Core is going to be going down. They blink and pick off another carrier. So picked off pretty much 2 carriers for free. And going to be attempting to just harass the stalkers, but you need to be really careful when you're doing this, or I need to be careful when I do this, because, I mean, blink stalkers are scary, man. Going to continue to harass these stalkers to the best of my abilities with these carriers, killing off as many as I can, but again, he's just blinking forward like every time I get a little bit over the ground, and because of it, we're losing almost as much as we're picking off here. Picking off a few more stalkers, and all they're doing is warping in stalkers at this point. We're still down quite a bit in terms of supply, but luckily for us, we're throwing down another base. We did eventually get our gold base back up and just slowly clawing our way back into this game, especially in terms of units lost. So, I think my friend notified me, hey, there's a proxy pylon right here. I'm like, oh, hopefully they didn't see the base then. Again, just continuing to position these carriers. The nice part about this position is that I can see this base as well as this gold base, and I noticed that they don't have either of those, so I'm pretty happy about that. The only thing is that I can't check this base, I can't check this base, or this base, or this base, but our opponents actually didn't go for any additional expansions, which is great for us. We're going to be getting +2, I believe this is, +3 maybe. Looks like a couple of Void Rays did come out, but Void Rays actually are not that great against carriers if they don't get in range. And since we have been getting our upgrades for the airships, we do a lot of damage. I'll tell you that. I believe that all of their air units have +0, +0 too. While carriers are good. So one other thing that I thought about when I was doing this type of harass is that we can use the launch interceptors right where their army is, and then I can pull the carriers back while they recharge everything. Only problem with doing this is that it costs quite a bit in order to rebuild all the interceptors. But I figured damage is damage, man. They do have an observer right on top of the carriers though, so they will be able to poise to blink at any time. And I asked my friend, okay, well, how are we doing in terms of economy? Because again, we were only on 2 base for quite a long time, and we weren't able to establish another base for a very long time. And because of it, we only have 3 additional carriers back at home, and pretty much everything that we have is invested in these carriers. I'm like, oh my god, this was terrible, this was bad, oh Jesus Christ, what did I just do? I launched all the interceptors, and got I actually don't know if I killed any additional stalkers with this. Looks like I get 2, 3, oh, they really just need to run away from these. They don't need to engage. Oh. They eventually killed off all the interceptors, but they lost like 3 or 4 stalkers for nothing, really. And again, we are pretty far. We're getting further behind in units lost, but in terms of army, we're 30 supply down in army. We do have some great upgrades going though. Our opponents only, they're on +2/+2 for their ground, so their stalkers are pretty potent. They do see our base up here, and they have a couple of Void Rays just poking in. And I was super scared of these Void Rays with our carriers just because of how much damage they can do to armored units, and I mean carriers are armored, so going to be transferring some probes down. I actually don't know where these guys are going. Where are you guys going? I'm not sure, but these immortals are randomly poking our base. Our carriers are gonna say, no, 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 you can't do that. and at this point I was like, hey, can we just kill them with these carriers? I was kind of scared because this was like a lot of stalkers, but I just don't know like how strong carriers are because I like never built this many in an actual game. So in the meantime, let's see, we are eventually going to get these probes mining in this hidden base. The probe that was over at this watchtower that built this was eventually either pulled back or killed off. I don't know what happened to it. These two random immortals are going to... I don't know what these guys are doing. They're not going with the main army, but they did see this base up and they didn't go to kill it. The observer going to be coming in, so they're probably going to be blinking up here in a bit. Nope, instead just going to be picking off a couple of probes, blinking just a few forward and just preventing any mining from going down. And I'm going to be positioning all of the carriers so they stay at the top. I'm going to be picking off one stalker, but they do get the scout off on this base. And again, these void rays I was kind of scared about, but they weren't microing them for a couple of seconds, so as you can see, interceptors are really strong. I wasn't expecting them to be that strong, but +3 man, +3 attack and +2 armor, pretty good. So I'm like, wow, that was really strong, so I figured, oh okay, maybe we just have a critical mass of carriers. We go in for the attack. These void rays just instantly die. All of these stalkers are just getting picked off like they're flies, and I mean, they just... yeah, carriers are really good. I mean, I didn't know this. I thought like if they got the void rays, we would be pretty screwed. But the upgrades for our carriers and just like how good the interceptors are, it's just a really strong unit. They even had a hidden base up here and they had this base completely saturated as well. But that's going to be that, so I hope you guys enjoyed this game, and I will see you guys later.